This is the Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Truck and Tractor Pull Championship. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where we've got a whale of a show for you tonight. I'm Bob Kearns, along with Mike Galloway, and it seems like everybody's here.
Bob, it's going to be a great show. We're working on 180 foot of track, and it's probably the best track in America. We're pulling a big sled, operates around 40,000 pounds, works through a series of gears and transmissions. Tractor class, we've got Dusty and Art Arfons, the twin jets of Art Arfons. They're going to be powerful. Dusty will be here, and she could definitely be a contender for the championship. And then we get into some wild and crazy monster truck action. It should be a great evening with lots and lots of action.
What do you look for in the pulling competition?
Got a lot of good pulling trucks here tonight from all over the country. 6,200-pound modified. The track's been good. They're going to have to really work for their money tonight.
You talked about the Arfons. They always thrill the crowds.
It's a 7,200-pound modified class, and it's going to be tough for the Arfons. They could be top contenders, but there's 2 or 3 other tractors here that you can definitely watch to be winners.
And the monster truck, that's what the folks pay the money for.
Oh, the monster trucks are great. 4 of the finest monster trucks in America. They should really put on a show for the people tonight.
And we'll close it all off with the Budweiser boss.
What can you say? Gary Collins, the Budweiser boss out of El Dorado Springs, Missouri. Probably the toughest 4-wheel drive pulling truck in America.
All that and more, so stay with us. This is the Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Truck Pull Championships. Tonight's Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Truck and Tractor Championships are brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Civic Arena, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Bob Kearns, Mike Galloway, all set now to move into the 2-wheel drive truck competition.
Starting off with Butch Schultz out of Mantua, Ohio. And this gentleman has something that there's very few of in America, and that's a supercharged Ford motor. Butch is a Ford fan from the word go. He runs a body shop in Mantua. He's a perfectionist. The truck is absolutely perfectly straight, probably a lot straighter than when it came from the factory. Oh, even though they come from the factory extremely nice. This truck has just been worked to the inch degree. Then a beautiful black Emerald paint on it. Magnum Jr., Butch Schultz, a big, strong, supercharged 572 motor. And Butch is running right at the top of the competition on the championship in this 2-wheel drive class. He's going to be somebody to reckon with tonight.
Well, Magnum Jr., driven by Butch Schultz.
Well, Butch does a great job. He drifted towards the left-hand line, and he can't touch the line and be out of bounds, burning off a little excess fuel. So he was burning it, drifting towards that sideline. He didn't want to back out of it, didn't want to touch the brakes because that'd lose some momentum. So he just went ahead and rode it just as far as he could, set it down right there at the last, and it was a nice run for Magnum Jr.
There's your measurement now for Magnum Jr. to get us started in the 2-wheel drive truck competition, 180 feet, 5 inches. You're looking at Rice Burner, which is a Toyota. Bill Romsberg, out of Alverton, Pennsylvania.
1987 Toyota truck with a 516 Chevrolet in it, and this is an absolutely beautiful truck. Only Toyota body truck we have in this new 2-wheel drive class. It is something extra. A brand new truck, been out about 5 times. Each time he comes out, he just goes further down the track, watching to be a competitor to win.
Had a rough pull there.
He did. He went towards the left-hand line, and there was a sheer case where he had to touch the brake on the right-hand side to bring it around. And when that happened, the sled was already topped out, and the momentum just absolutely took the footage away from him tonight.
Take a look here, Mike. Watch on the 2-wheel drive competition now how fast that weight transfer machine comes up the sled.
Well, these trucks weigh 1,000 pounds more than the 4-wheel drive. The front end's up. Right here, Bob, you see him drift to the left-hand side of the track. He's turning the wheels, but that just doesn't do any good. And he touches down, hits the right brake, jerks it around, but look at the box. It's already topped out, and the momentum is going for him. That shuts the beautiful Rice Burner truck down.
See the Rice Burner coming up a bit short, 154 feet, 4 1/2 inches. Well, here's the West Virginia Kool-Aid Kid, Bobby Johns, who makes his home in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Bobby drives a 1986 Chevrolet S10 with a supercharged 482 cubic inch Chevrolet motor. Before Bobby got into pulling, he was a bowler, a professional bowler for trade, and he's also been very active in drag racing for quite some time, and now turns over to the supercharged class of the two-wheel drive. And Bobby's a very fine competitor. Now, he runs a little bit wider tire than you've seen in the other trucks so far tonight. This is a tire built by CPEC especially for this class. Watch Bobby Johns. He's going to ease into it.
Strong run for the Kool-Aid Kid.
Very good run for Bobby Johns and the Kool-Aid Kid. That blown Chevrolet motor is working, but he hurt the engine right at when he shut off. That motor had some problems. You see the smoke coming out of it. Look underneath it. There's a rod going out of it, or something severe has happened. He has broken engine in the Kool-Aid Kid. Fortunate for Bobby Johns' sake, he did it at the end of the pull. Bob, here's a shot of Bobby as he's going down the track. The front end's coming up. Balance on the truck is just perfect. I mean, it's a beautiful pass. The front end's up a little bit, about 3 foot off the ground. Now watch Bobby as the weight box is on him. He begins to slow down. When the truck settles right about this time, right here, motor goes up, and right there, see the sparks and the parts come out from underneath the truck. It was an expensive run for Bobby Johns out of Wheeling, West Virginia. I've got to go back, though, because I believe Bobby has broken a transmission. Looking at the color of the oil on the track, and that is transmission parts. So Bobby Johns lost some transmission parts right there. And, hey, transmission, you're only talking about $3,000 or $4,000 to be back in business.
Well, we have a new leader now in the two-wheel drive truck competition. The West Virginia Kool-Aid Kid has gone 188 feet and 4 inches. That's better than 8 feet better than Butch Schultz in Magnum Jr. Well, we hope you're enjoying all the pulling excitement here on television from the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, but probably the best seat in the house is not the one you're sitting in your living room at the moment. It's the guy driving the sled. That has got to be a wild ride. Mike Galloway went down and found out what goes on back behind the sled.
I'm with Darrell Ellenbaum, the man that's got the best seat in the house, but he's not here for rest and relaxation. Darrell, it's work time when you do this. What are you actually doing back here on the back of the sled besides having a good time?
Well, I control the sled. I can stop it if I have to. Something's wrong. You set the gears for each class, and then you run through the whole class. This is a motorized sled, so you can drive it back to the starting line. And there's a lot of things you can do with this sled that a lot of other ones you can't.
But Darrell, you have the controls at your hands. If something was to go wrong and you needed to shut a vehicle down or stop the vehicle, maybe it got a little wild or out of hand, you could do that, couldn't you?
Yes. This button right here is a kill switch. That will shut the motor of the tractor off. These 2 levers here are the brakes of the sled, which I can stop the tractor with the brakes. These here 2 stop the box.
Dale, it's got to be some wild rides going on out there. Do some of these guys take you on a pretty good ride?
We've estimated, we've had a police car sitting at the end of the track. We've gone through the 300-foot line 30 miles an hour behind some tractors.
Well, that's got to be a wild ride, and Darrell Ellis is going to take it all in tonight.
You're looking at Telstar, driven by Bob Bauman. We saw his wife Pam earlier in the competition. Not this competition, but the four-wheel drive truck competition.
Boy, this is a beautiful truck. Bob Bauman makes his home in Saxonburg, Pennsylvania, and it's a lowrider S15 Jimmy. It sets right on the ground, and the body work and the things that they've done to this truck is just unbelievable. Not a flaw in the truck anywhere. The back part of the truck has been widened. They've actually split the body and added a piece in the body to let it come out and set down over the tires and give it that beautiful lowrider effect. And, you know, Bob Bauman not only has a beautiful truck called Telstar, but this truck has really, really been running extremely well. He has been an absolute terror in this two-wheel drive class, and we can see if he could get up there around the 188 feet 4 inch mark. Bobby Johns owns the lead. Let's see what happens as we get ready to run Bob Bauman's Telstar. This is a big supercharged 470 Chevrolet.
Good run for Bob Bauman. He had to fight the brake system there.
Beautiful job. Bob drifted across track, and the truck has a tendency to pull to the left. You notice he spotted the sled on the right-hand. He spots the sled on the right-hand side of the track, and the truck has a tendency to go to the left-hand side, so he's trying to get as much track distance between the truck and the outside boundary. And right there you see the truck start to the left-hand side. Bob turning the wheels, but they're not doing any good. He's holding on. He doesn't want to touch that brake. If he touches the brake, he knows the momentum's going to get him. Weight box puts the nail to him right there, and we'll have a measurement from Bob Bauman on Telstar. Good run for Bob. Beautiful truck.
180 feet 5 inches.
Have a tie now for second place. Telstar 180 feet 5 inches. That ties the Magnum Junior. And of course they're still behind the man out of Wheeling, West Virginia, Bobby Johns in the Kool-Aid Kid. Here's the Steel City Shaker. Dave Zundel out of Alexandria, Pennsylvania, taking a shot at the 188-foot 4-inch mark, which is our current leader, Bobby Johns of the West Virginia Kool-Aid Kid.
Well, Dave Zundel is the son of Bob Zundel. Bob has been campaigning this truck all year long, and he's turned the driving chores tonight over to his son. Supercharged 440 cubic inch Chevrolet. Now, most of the trucks you're seeing in this competition run a truck-type rear end with a set of industrial outboard planetaries on the outside edge of it. This truck runs a U-Moline tractor-type rear end, an old 1947 tractor-type rear end, taking all the power it can give.
Steel City Shaker comes up short.
He had to go to the sideline. It was drifting across, and a beautiful job for that young man. He's just learning the pulling game, doing a great job. There's his father out there giving him a few encouraging words like, outstanding job, son.
Here's Mike Hoff, who has driven exhibition vehicle earlier tonight, and now he is in the Blue Ridge Runner.
Well, this is a brand new ride for Mike. He's only been out a couple other times with it. It's a 1986 S10 Chevrolet, a supercharged Hemi KB, a big Keith Black Hemi motor called the Blue Ridge Runner. Let's see if Hoff can put it on him.
Well, that mark of Bobby Johns of 188.4 is starting to loom larger as one of his big competitors, Mike Hoff, in Blue Ridge Runner, comes up short.
Mike standing tall, doing a great job, but as you mentioned, he's going to be a little bit short of that 188.4. Here's a shot of Mike as he rolls out with the big KB motor, easing into it, trying to build up a little ground speed. Should have got into the motor a little bit earlier. You notice he's just now beginning to get into it. Injectors are opening up. They're flat. Front end comes up, and truck here again. The track is pulling the two-wheel drives over to the left-hand side, and Mike's on the brakes right there, holding it inbounds, and that really killed the momentum on the truck. Well, Mike Hoff gets a congratulations from Bobby Johns, or Bobby Johns gets a congratulations from Mike Hoff. Mike Hoff ends up at 168 feet, 2.5 inches.
And our winner of the competition, of course, the West Virginia Kool-Aid Kid, and 188 feet 4 inches. Magnum Junior and Telstar tie for second. Then comes the Blue Ridge Runner, Rice Burner, and the Steel City Shaker. Among the regular sponsors of this event, we want to mention the people from Duraliner and Kendall Motor Oil and thank them for their continued support for these events. More pulling excitement from the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh after this timeout.
You're going to hear us talk a lot tonight about injection and superchargers. This is the injector butterfly, and this is the supercharger. The supercharger is nothing but an air pump. It pumps air inside the engine, enable it to build more horsepower, and puts air inside of it and makes it burn better. These are the injectors. Up on top of them, 3 red spots. When you see the 3 red spots disappear, you know the man's wide open and on the fuel. Butch Schultz backs in, and this is a brand new 1987 Ford Tiempo body with a blown 500-plus cubic inch Ford motor. Butch is a body shop owner and a perfectionist. This is absolutely flawless automobile. For a fiberglass body, it is beautiful. The motor here again maintained by his young son, Butch Schultz Jr., 16 years old, and a great job. Here comes Butch Schultz, wheels up and hammer down. Look out. Tremendous work, beautiful job for Butch Schultz. Front end was up in the air, and he carried it all the way to the end of the track. A fine exhibition run for Magnum Force out of Mantua, Ohio. Butch Schultz, a true competitor and a fine gentleman.
Exhibition continues now with the Avenger, driven by our friend Gary Collins out of El Dorado Springs, Missouri.
Gary Collins runs a 1986 Ford Mustang with a supercharged all-aluminum Hemi engine tucked underneath that fiberglass body, and Ray backing him into the box. Gary's going to test the drive line out, make sure everything's in good shape. First shot of Gary, big man in a little car, and he's hammering down on the big KB, the aluminum Keith Black. Ray will back him into the starting line area, get him all hooked up, and here comes the Avenger, Gary Collins, a farmer in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. He and his lovely wife, Kim, and their children farming several acres there in and around El Dorado Springs. In wintertime, it's time to hit the roads, go truck pulling. Gary running an exhibition funny car tonight. He also drives one of the finest four-wheel drive pulling trucks in America in exhibitions. Big Budweiser boss, and Bob, that's a wild truck now. That is truly exciting. Green.
We saw him make a heck of a pull with the Budweiser boss at our show in Anaheim. Let's see how he does with the Avenger.
Here comes Gary. Watch him.
Right to the end of the track.
Gary Collins really put the distance on it tonight. A beautiful job with the Avenger.
You're looking at the Chi-Town Hustler.
Mike Hoff out of Littletown, Pennsylvania, driving a Chi-Town Hustler. This car's sister car was a national record holder in drag racing. Mike Hoff drives the Chi-Town Hustler. Mike makes his home in Littletown, Pennsylvania. A blown Keith Black Hemi underneath the hood, and this is one fine competitive vehicle. Let's watch Mike Hoff as he hooks up to the sled and gets ready to go for the ride of a lifetime. There's a good shot of the injectors and the blower motor, the big pump sitting on top of the engine. See the distributor sticking out the side there, and a big horsepower. These engines that Mike Hoff built, the aluminum Keith Black motors, probably producing around 1,700 horsepower, running on alcohol. No nitrous oxide or nitrous methane allowed in this sport. Those are both oxygen-carrying fuels. Can't have any oxygen-carrying fuels. Aviation, alcohol, gasoline, the only fuels allowed in this sport. Well, Mike's all hooked up. He rolls the slack out for the Chi-Town Hustler. Let's see how the man does. He is Mark Tuff. Green comes on the sled. Mike cleans the motor out real well and watch the front end go up on Chi-Town.
Right down the length of the track.
Bob, once the front end comes up and they're carrying the front tires up in the air, the only way that they have of controlling these vehicles are by individual rear brakes. And to touch the rear brakes brings them around just a little bit. Also lose a lot of momentum, so they want to stay off those brakes as long as possible.
We'll be back with more exciting action. This is tonight's Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Truck and Tractor Pull Championships. Well, we're getting ready now for the modified tractor competition. It looks like they're adding some weight to the box.
They've added a couple of weights to it, and the weights are about 6,000 pounds each sitting in that box. They've added some more, and what they're doing, they're getting ready for this 7,200-pound modified tractor class. These are big horsepower tractors. They get the maximum traction. They've got to really be heavyweight on the sled.
Bob Kurtz, Mike Galloway here, Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, all set now for the 7,200-pound modified tractor competition. We'll start with Rambunctious, driven by Milt Bergman out of Fort Recovery, Ohio.
Well, this is quite a combination, Bob. As you see, sitting there on the line, Milt Bergman out in front, a V-12 Allison aircraft engine directly behind him, and then behind that, a 455 Oldsmobile. Milt Bergman takes it out of bounds.
Personally, would like to thank Milt Bergman for not killing the entire ground crew.
Well, Bergman was bouncing on that one, Mike.
Had to go to the right-hand side, got on the right brake, and one thing about Milt sitting out front, you can see exactly which brake he's on, which one he's off. Here's a man that will not ride the merry-go-round at the State Fair, but rides this. Watch Milt. Takes his feet off the brake. Now they're sitting right there beside the tires. Milt's relaxed. He's got the right arm all the way down. He's steering with the left arm, puts the left brake. See him shoving on the left brake, trying to bring the tractor around. There he lets out of it, shuts it down, gets on it again, and it's too late, Milt.
106 feet, 7 inches.
Rambunctious went out of bounds, 106 feet, 7 inches on the pull. So it probably will not be a serious competitor for the championship. And you're looking at the Devil Buster now, Gordon Lutke out of Ohio.
Here's another strange combination with a V-12 Allison aircraft engine used during World War II in the fighter pilot, and a 460 cubic inch Ford motor. There's 3 tractors here tonight that's got the Allison V8 aircraft engine and the automobile engine combination on them. And here's the one of them that's in the competition. Gordon just purchased this tractor not too many weeks ago and is campaigning real hard throughout the nation. Let's see if he can put a run together tonight that will put him up in the lead mark. He's tough.
Well, so far the tractors are having problems with the weight transfer machine.
Well, they added all the weight at the start of the class, and the box is heavy, the sled's heavy tonight, and the guys are really having a hard time getting any ground speed out of the hole. Well, here's Gordon, and he's got his right arm all the way down. That's controlling the throttles, and he's having a little bit of problems going to the left, corrects it, brings it around, but the sled's already transferring all the weight onto it, and Gordon's fighting the out-of-bounds line and shuts him down right there. Not a great pull for Gordon, but one thing about it, it's considered successful. He drove off under his own power.
Go to a football game late in the season, you bundle up, you go sit in the bleachers for the baseball game, you wear your shorts, have a t-shirt you can take off and catch some rays. What do you wear to a truck and tractor pull?
Truck and tractor pulling has a fashion all its own. T-shirts and blue jeans, kind of the order of the day. One thing about it, almost everyone here is a rolling, walking, talking billboard. All sorts of things, and they come in all shapes and all sizes.
Honey, there ain't no doubt. I'm gonna dance every dance till the boys go home. Well, it's my night to rock. No watching that old clock. Oh, ain't no doubt, Lord, it's the girls' night out. Two-step with a Cotton Eye Joe. They can play 'em fast or they can play 'em slow. I can do 'em all, just show me the floor. You can give me a little rock and roll, or even a waltz with the lights down low. I'll still be dancing when they close the door. Well, I've been cooped up all week long. I've been working my fingers till the dawn. Well, it's a girl's night out. Honey, there ain't no doubt. I'm gonna dance every dance till the boys go home. Well, it's my night to rock. No watching that on clock. Oh, ain't no doubt, Lordy, it's a girl's night out.
Get a 6-pack of Coke. This is...
Well, high tech has come to tractor pulling, and this is Art Arfon's machine. And you'll notice right there by Art's right arm is a video camera, and it is pointed at the gauges. Art has several gauges on this vehicle, as it is a 2 aircraft engine, and he does not have time to go down the track. There's 4 gauges that he needs to read simultaneously, and he's not been able to do this in the past, so Art has came up with the idea of putting a video camera on it. I asked him today, earlier this afternoon, and Art said it had been very successful. You know, Art Arfon, quite the inventor, and if anything can be done, this man can do it. Okay, there's a shot of the gauges, and those 4 gauges right closest towards you are the ones that Art needs to read simultaneously. Has not been able to do it, as you'll see when he goes down the track. He's got his hands full just riding the tractor and keeping his eyes on the track. So he's added another set of eyes to the tractor. He's added a video camera, high-tech and tractor pulling.
The girl there with the dragon lady on the back of the jacket, that is daughter Dusty. She will also pull later in this competition.
Dusty's turning the camera on as Art rolls the slack out.
This is one of the vehicles they come to see at these competitions around the country. Keep your eye on the Green Monster.
Art Arfon has really done it all. He has attempted to break the world's land speed record, been over 500 miles an hour. He's a champion in tractor pulling. He's highly inventive in this sport. He's got a multitude of ideas in his mind that he hasn't even used yet. Now, these are 2 jet helicopter engines. They're used on the big 3-engine transport helicopters. He has them hooked up, and to start them, he used the 1,000cc motorcycle engine. That's the engine that's mounted directly behind him. It runs a hydraulic pump that moves him around to the sled and off the track. It also has a switch on it that takes the hydraulics and converts it from powering the rear tires to turning over the jet turbine engine. Probably the most critical part of any jet turbine is the starting period. This is why they've never been produced in the automobiles as a mass-produced engine, because the starting period is so critical on it. That's what Art is doing right now. He's reading the gauges, waiting till the percentages come up. Each one of these engines operate at about 40,000 RPM. Your average automobile engine operates at about 6,000 RPM. So Art Arfon has got his hand full. There's the twin fires out of the twin-headed Green Monster. He puts his right arm on the throttle, and let's see if Art Arfon can go the distance.
Well, Art Arfons and the Green Monster has taken over the lead in the 7,200-pound modified tractor competition.
Definitely churning the ground, turning the tires up close to the 100-mile-an-hour mark, having a little bit of problem locking everything in. He's burning off some excess fuel as he shuts the engine down. A beautiful job on Art Arfon's Green Monster. Burnt the banners off of the starting line. Look at that. The United States Hot Rod Association banner is history. All right, here's a shot of Art Arfons as he gets ready to launch the Jet Green Monster. Here comes the fire out of the hole. Arfons is on the power, and it is ready to ride for Art Arfon. The tire speed comes up instantly. One thing about the turbine engines is they have instant power, and Art has got the power. The tires are running close to the 100-mile-an-hour mark. Green flag is out, and he's got the sled behind him. All you can do at that point is hold on. Now there you see why Art doesn't have time to check the gauges, because he's got all he can do is just holding on and riding it out.
149 feet 1 inch.
Well, our new leader, the Green Monster, 149 feet 1 inch for Art Arfons and the Green Monster. Bill Leischner in the Dirt Slinger. During one of our previous broadcasts, we saw him win the competition at the Riverfront Arena in Cincinnati.
Tell you what, that wasn't the last one Bill won, and he has really been the man to beat in this class. 3 brand new 572 cubic inch supercharged Hemi Aries engines. Mega dollars in motors, and you can see why when you see the Dirt Slinger hooked to the sled. A very appropriate name for Bill. Now it runs 30.5, 32 engines. A very appropriate name in the Dirt Slinger for Bill. He runs 30.5, 32 tires. There's a shot of the 3 Aries engines. The 2 motors on the bottom are hooked crankshaft to crankshaft. The motor setting up top has its own clutch, so there's 2 clutches, 3 motors. They'll all come in simultaneously. And tell you what, when it does that, he will shake the rafters and rattle the ground with Dirt Slinger. Bill is a farmer.
Take a look at 3 inches. Is there a limit of how many engines you can put on these things?
Only a limit on the weight and the tire size. 7,200 pounds maximum, 30.5, 32 tires. Now, Bill has very little tread on the rear tires. He wants to spin them real hard. Doesn't want to pile a lot of dirt up in front of the sled, and that's why the lug is cut down the way it is. Watch this man thunder the roof, and here comes Bill.
full pull for the Dirt Slinger and Bill Leishner. That brings the crowd at the Civic Arena to its feet.
Not only a full pull, Bill had the balance right. The power was there. A beautiful job. I tell you what, that guy is really super tough. He is leading in the race for the championship. Here's a replay. Watch Bill as he comes with the sled. He eases it into it, even though he's got all the tire speed. Right there, he's wide open. Look at the violent shake in the tractor. The front end up, just touching the ground. That's the way you want it. Patted a couple of times, and Bill is headed for a full pull. Front end up, Bill's got it right between the doorways and says, I'll take it on outside, guys.
Well, full pull for Dirt Slinger. He went the full 210 feet and then some.
210 and stretched another 50 on top of it.
So wind up out in the parking lot. Now we have new and improved Rambunctious, also driven by Milt Bergman out of Fort Recovery, Ohio. You recall he drove Rambunctious to start the class, and this is the new and improved.
Milt's professional puller. He runs a twin Allison aircraft engine. The front motor, twin turbochargers, alcohol injected. Now the back motor is alcohol injected, both of them V12 Allison. Now if you go to counting cylinders, you come up with 24. The reason being has 2 intakes and 2 exhaust valves, much like a lot of the newer model cars have now. But this engine was designed in 1929 and went into production in the early 30s.
Well, he has a big mark to shoot at. He's going to have to go the full distance to force a pull-off with Bill Leishner. So Bill Bergman has his work cut out for him.
Bill does, and he's last year's national champion with this tractor. He can do it.
A fine pull and good for second place, but obviously still shy of Dirt Slinger.
Milt did a great job and might have had just a little bit too much on the nose. Tell you what, Milt does a great job in pulling. He is a professional at it, truly a good competitor. Milt Bergman losing a lot of coolant out of the engine, the front motor. He very well may have broken a freeze plug or one of the plugs up on the inner side of the engine. Right here, you see Milt leave with the sled, and he's on his way down the track. Somewhere around the 100-foot mark, if you look to the right-hand side, right there, he starts to lose the antifreeze out of the front motor. Now, it's a plug or something, but he is losing all of it, and I'm sure the engine is building a lot of heat in it. As we're injecting alcohol into the motor, the fluid is going absolutely all over the track, and it is a real tough break for Milt Bergman, even though he ends up with a good run.
New and improved Rambunctious goes 103 feet 1/2 inch, which would put it in second place behind Bill Leishner and the Dirt Slinger. And here's Dusty Arfons, the Dragon Lady. Art Arfons' daughter.
Beautiful T58 engine, and the lovely Dusty sits behind the controls. Dusty in her full year of pulling now, doing a great job. I tell you what, this young lady, watch very soon to be one of the premier pullers in America. This tractor runs a considerably smaller engine than most of the pullers that you see in competition here tonight. It is a T58. It's much like the helicopter engines that you see the news teams have so many places over the nation. Well, this is the type of engine Dusty has in there right this moment. She could be tough. She needs to go a full pull. That's what it's going to take to put her in a pull-off situation with Bill Leishner.
Dusty Arfons out of Akron, Ohio. Now, she is the only female tractor puller, right?
She is the only female tractor puller on the Circuit of Champions with the United States Hot Rod Association, pumping up the brakes, and she'll check things out, turns the light on, brings up the boost, waits for the power to come alive, and when the RPMs get up just right, Dusty will leave with it, burns off a little excess fuel, and ready to go to work. Dusty Arfons, the Dragon Lady.
Now she's having problems battling the out-of-bounds marker on the right side and finally brings it up short.
Dusty ends up on the short end tonight and won't be enough to put her up into the first place, but believe me, that young lady is going to be there very, very soon. Dusty Arfons getting ready to go. There she cleans out the internal part of the turbine engine. She's ready to launch. Listen to the boost and the power come up. All of the air rushing out of the engine.
That's like an airplane.
Just like an airplane and a turbine jet engine. It should. But Dusty's on her way down the track and immediately starts to drift to the right-hand side of the track. Dusty has to let off of it and get on the brake.
Down to the last chance now for any of the tractors to overtake Dirtslinger. It's the Bionic Buzzard, driven by Jan Schmiesing out of Sydney, Ohio. And he'll have to go the distance to force a pull-off with the Dirtslinger. No one else is even close.
Big alcohol twin blown, or two blowers mounted in line. There's a good shot of the alcohol-injected Allison with a 454 Chevrolet behind it. Jan Schmiesing makes his home in Sydney, Ohio. Been in the pulling sport for quite some time, and he is going to be very, very tough in this class, but he's got a big mark to beat. Bill Lashner lays down a full pull. Let's see if Jan can bring the Bionic Buzzard around. Burning off a little bit of excess alcohol and clean the motor out. Horsepower comes up, dumps the clutch, ride.
Well, lots of power and lots of noise, but not enough to overtake the Dirtslinger.
Good run for Jan. Could have used another 100 pounds on the nose to keep the front end down. When the front end comes up, the hitch goes down, and you lose power when you lose that hitch. But a fine run for Jan Schmiesing and the Bionic Buzzard. Now here comes your winner, Bill Lashner. He's easing out right there. He hammers down on the 3 Aries motors. This is a picture-perfect pull as Bill is headed to the full pull mark. He crosses the full pull mark right there, and Bill says to give you a little extra just to make sure.
Well, he won in Cincinnati, and he wins tonight in the tractor competition here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh with a full pull of 210 plus. Then comes the new and improved Rambunctious, the Bionic Buzzard, Art Arfons and the Green Monster, the Devil Buster, Rambunctious, and the Dragon Lady, driven by Dusty Arfons. Here's the Butt Boss, Gary Collins, out of El Dorado Springs, Missouri, and an exhibition here at Civic Arena, and this is one heck of a truck.
Probably the most powerful 4-wheel drive pulling truck in America, the Butt Boss, twin-blown Ship Timmy.
Was there ever a doubt? The Butt Boss pulls the sled from one end of the Civic Arena to the other.
Gary Collins showing the guys just kind of the way they do it in Missouri. And a beautiful job. The Butt Boss knocking a home run tonight. Outstanding job. There's Gary, and he steps out of the Butt Boss. That is a one beautiful, powerful truck. Twin supercharged engines, probably 3,000 horsepower.
The pulling competition here at the Civic Arena is history. It is time to crush some cars. What are they doing, Mike? Lining them up?
It's called tightening the cars up. I think the man driving the wrecker at one time was a parking lot attendant somewhere.
There's no competition as far as the monster trucks go here tonight. We're just going to crush them, huh?
We're going to crunch a bunch. It's going to be wild, Bob. We're going to see some super wild monster truck action in just a few moments.
So the pulling is over, but stay tuned for the monster trucks, as this is the Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Spring Championships. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the Pirates, Penguins, and Steelers. And tonight the city is playing host to the Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Truck and Tractor Pull Championships. I'm Bob Kurtz along with Mike Galloway. Here we go with the monster trucks, the Duraliner Giant.
Kurt Dabney out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and he stands it right up on its end and right over the top of them. These guys are serious. He's broke a drive shaft. Look underneath the truck. The rear drive shaft is just flopping around, going everywhere. They're going to take him right on out of the arena, but there's a shot of that rear giant drive shaft just flopping. The U-joints broke on it. Got so high in the air that when it did, the U-joint, the drive shaft, snapped in two. Tough break for the Duraliner Giant. He'll have to take it right on outside. Back on the trailer and home.
Here comes Goliath.
Twin supercharged Fords, one in the front, one in the back. Watch this guy. This is Alatura out of Warren, Ohio. He's going over. Oh, my heavens, right at the last minute. it. He landed it. He landed it. I can't believe it. He was up in the air and on his way over, and the truck came back to ground. Alan Tura out of Warren, Ohio, the twin-blown Goliath, stood it right up on the rear wheels, and Bob, I thought it was history. Here's a replay. Goliath's got the hammer down on the twin-blown motors. Now watch him. He's high up in the air. It's all the way up in the air. It tilts to the right, and at the last moment, the front end brings it back down. Here's a lucky young man. A beautiful job of crushing cars with Goliath. Unbelievable. He's going to back up and try it again. He's going to do the back-up get-up. Watch him as he puts it in reverse. He's got the truck ready to go. Each one of those tires and wheels weighs over 1,000 pounds. This is definitely not a vehicle you want to have a flat with on the expressway. Here he goes. In reverse, right up on top of him, wild as you could ever see. That Goliath truck, the big twin-blown Ford, he is putting the hurt to some cars tonight. What a wild round of competition. Goliath is doing an outstanding job. Twin-blown Fords, and there's a good shot of Alan. He steps out of the truck, and tell you what, he has got to be shaken just a little bit after that first pass where it went all the way up in the air. Unbelievable. Beautiful monster truck, and the guy's doing a great job with it. This is Don Maples out of Huntsville, Alabama.
Here's Samson.
14 foot tall. Watch the Samson float. Chevrolet launching. Unbelievable that you can see a 14,000-pound truck fly over the cars as Don Maples has done. He's ripped the hood off of one of them. Don's going to go on. Hold on, watch out. Look at that. Looks like a rocket as it just catapults up in the air. And Maples out of Huntsville, Alabama with his Samson 1 truck says, hold on, guys, I want this competition.
They're saying, no, don't crush them again.
Hold up just a minute. The hood came off of one of them. Don Maples says, you guys give me the go. I'm going to go over the top of them. Well, they put the hood back on as best they possibly can. Here comes Samson. He's going to try to fly the group. There's not much left of them. Look out. Oh! Riding off the edge of them, Don Maples. Supercharged Chevrolet in Samson 1. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. We are seeing an unbelievable battle in the battle of the monster truck. Here's Samson 1 high in the sky. Look at that. Clears all 4 wheels off the ground on this 13,000-pound monster truck. Skips over the top of them. Look to the Virginia Giant, Deal Wilson. Virginia Giant, this is a supercharged Hemi Ford motor. Makes his home in Winchester, Virginia. Here's Deal Wilson, the Virginia Giant, makes his home in Winchester, Virginia. Watch the Virginia Giant. Look out. Flying. Deal Wilson doesn't have a whole lot left to work with. These other 3 have just destroyed the cars. They're about 2 foot tall at the current time, but Deal Wilson's going to make the best of it as he's going to really go for it. Back up, get up. He does one of the better wheel stands in reverse. Look out. Motor loaded up on him a little bit. He got high in the backside of it. The cars are scattered all over the arena floor, and Deal Wilson in the Virginia Giant is saying, give me more. Give me more. This is a beautiful truck, a supercharged Hemi Ford motor underneath the hood. There's a good shot of Deal. He's got to be a little bit excited about the ride that he's been taking tonight. Checks the rear tires, make sure they're straight. Front and rear steering on both of them. Hold on, look at there. Flying over the top of them. All 4 wheels. There was daylight underneath the tires when Deal Wilson launched that truck up in the air. Look out, he's going to go in backwards again. Unbelievable action. A beautiful job. Deal Wilson raises the body up and lets everyone take a look at what one of these outstandingly wild monster trucks are actually made of. This is one fantastic piece of equipment. Dio Wilson. There's a good shot of Dio. Makes his home in Winchester, Virginia. Here comes Samson, one back out. Don Maple, Huntsville, Alabama. The beautiful blown Chevrolet truck. Don has put on a show. These guys really put on a tremendous round of competition as they were getting all over the track. There's the twin-blown Goliath truck from Ohio. Fantastic shot. What a way to close the program, Bob.
It was a wild night here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, and there's nothing left of the 4 cars in the middle.
Now watch the Virginia Giant. Dio hits the cars. Here's where he clears them. All 4 tires clearing the ground. Can you believe you can take a 13,000-pound truck like that and actually get that much ground clearance off of it? A beautiful job. These trucks are taking such a beating, and it's putting such a beating on the drivers. They're really doing an outstanding job. Of course, all the safety equipment built on the trucks keeps them in line. A beautiful job tonight.
Yeah, what a close to the show here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hey, how are you? Sorry that I'm not at home.
Mike, you come in here to the Civic Arena and you look at the cars that the monster trucks are going to go over. Now, they're not exactly floor room models, but they're going to be a whole lot flatter when they leave here.
Some of them, when they come in and right before the monster trucks crush, look like you could just drive them down the road. But then, when it's over with, you do good to haul them down the road.
Where do they get the cars from?
Most of them come from salvage yards in the city that they're competing in. And one of the things about it, when they take them out of here, they have to haul them out of here. They're about 6 or 8 inches tall after these monster trucks get finished doing a stomp on top of them.
That's sort of like death row. You're going to the last ride.
There's no stay of execution on this one.
Tonight's Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Truck and Tractor Pull Championships are brought to you by Budweiser. Each would age for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you. For Mike Galloway, this is Bob Kurtz. Thanks for being with us tonight from Pittsburgh. This program is a presentation of Bud Sports through the facilities of ESPN.